UNITAR stands for the United Nations Institute for Training and Research. We primarily deal with adult education and training. And so within our division last year, actually prior to the pandemic, we had been looking at ways to do blended learning with our programs. And so we were investigating different apps. And in particular, we wanted to find something that we could roll out to participants that would have downloadable features, specifically for places that are lacking in internet connectivity, so people could go to community centers to download things. We wanted the app to also be active, so elements of gamification. We didn't want our users to just be passively watching videos, but to also be engaged in the content. And we also looked for something that was primarily more based in micro-learning, so short, quick lessons. Usually our lessons are under 10 minutes long. And so we're doing chunking that way to kind of just give little bits of information and kind of break down big topics into kind of smaller understandable ideas. So that was our kind of primary motivations as we were going out and looking for apps. We came across an app called EdApp. And after exploring it with them, we actually entered into a memorandum of understanding. And so we've been working with EdApp, and as the pandemic started, we were quite grateful. We'd done a little bit of work because we actually ended up switching over fully. So we used to deliver our programs face-to-face. Usually our programs were about 30 participants, and people would be able to come and meet regionally. So we'd have about 4 meetings. People would meet in their regions and in their home countries, and then would also come to Japan to learn a little bit about Hiroshima, and depending on the program, kind of gain some other understanding and experience from that. We also would take some of our participants to some of the areas that were affected by the tsunami in 2011, just to see kind of the recovery process there from natural disaster. So using our location and kind of sharing that in a field trip experience. But with borders closed, we had to switch to using fully online, which has been, actually, it's been difficult, but it's also been great. As kind of was mentioned in the keynote speech as well by Dr. Young, you know, there's some really great things, I think, to kind of this digital, switching to digital literacy and everything being online. We're able to scale a lot bigger. So whereas we were only catering to 30 participants, we can now reach a lot more people. It was always very sad to have to turn down people because we just didn't have enough money to bring everybody that we really wanted to bring to these physical locations. But now we're finding ways that we can actually bring, you know, it's pushed us to find ways to bring kind of these other experiences in and bring them into this online space. So on the plus side, we've been able to, some of our programs, we hope in 2021 to have 1,000 participants. And this year we're doing hundreds. So we're quite excited about that. And that's been our journey kind of so far with EdApp. We do have another kind of great feature I'd like to mention with EdApp, and perhaps it would interest those who are participating in the webinar today. We also have a partnership with them for Educate All. If you type EdApp Educate All into your web browser, it's a great, you can create, so it's a platform free for anyone to use to either create and upload lessons, to modify lessons, and to take lessons yourself. So it's a growing database of user created content. Of course, our programs are also run on kind of this business side of the app, where we do our kind of internal programming and courses, but there is a great resource out there that has kind of come about through this partnership with UNITAR, where there's a lot of course creation happening. So it's really exciting. Yeah, definitely. So this digital pivot, we've been trying to take elements of our face-to-face and kind of reimagine them in this digital space. So our face-to-face programs actually had mentors who are usually alumni from previous years of the program, and coaches who would come in each year. And so we've actually been making learning communities within this space. So just small discussion groups for people that are led by our coaches and mentors from previous programs. So that's a really great way for people still to connect, and people are connecting even outside of EdApp and touching base with each other. And that was, I think, something, again, that happened in face-to-face as well, but is now just switched to phone calls instead of being able to meet up, say, in a regional capital or something like that. And we've also been partnering for 2021, we're looking to partner with ministries and NGOs, particularly in Afghanistan. We're doing an upskilling, reskilling program to teach women in Afghanistan digital literacy skills and some advanced skills as well, such as coding. So we kind of have two split bits there to that program, where some of it will be basic and some of it will be a little bit more advanced. That program, we're hoping to reach 1,000 women, and we're reaching out to universities, NGOs, and again, ministries to try to find community centers where people can go to download some of the content and then complete it at home, but also have support networks there internally, kind of within their communities, to be able to complete some of it. As was mentioned, encouragement and kind of having that positive environment is so important. And I think being an online learner can be a very lonely journey. And so it's really great when you have a community there to kind of boost you up and to encourage you to keep going, you know, throughout the weeks of the course. Yeah, so this is, we have an interesting example to use in this case. And I think I'd also like to mention, we're not limiting some of this information dissemination to just digital forms. So we're also looking at kind of creative ways we can deliver content. Due to the digital divide, I think across the world, we noticed even school children had to resort to picking up homework packets in some places if they could. So we're considering paper delivery for some of our programs where we have to, just to be able to get information out and to still reach people. We're also using exploring radio as well for 2021. And then we have kind of an interesting case as well that happened this year in 2020. We were able to get some grant funding for VR goggles for our disaster risk reduction program. That program focuses on small island developing states within the Pacific. And one of the features of that program when we were in face-to-face was that people would be able to come to Japan and to kind of see what the recovery process had been like in Japan, recovering from disaster, earthquakes, and tsunamis. However, going into an online space, we felt that kind of just pictures on their own didn't do justice. So we're able to apply for grant funding to use VR goggles to deliver some of the content for that program. The program is midway through, so the VR goggles will arrive to people. We're taking a holiday break, but in 2021, some of those will be arriving, and we're really excited to see kind of the potential from that, how that might excite not only the people who are participating, but also the people in their community. We have women participating in that program specifically who are working even in schools as teachers. And so seeing how they might be creating ripple effects and being change makers and introducing some of this technology to students or family members and general community members is really kind of exciting. So we hope to see how that goes, and yeah, kind of wanting to test new technologies in this space and kind of the excitement, I think, around something like VR goggles provides kind of an interesting gateway to looking at some of this content.